Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there. Today's guest is Tash from the Mindful Movement. We met a few years ago through a mutual friend, Solveig, and I ended up being very good friends with her. And then I just, on a whim, decided to do her yoga retreat to Greece last year. Just decided the year before. It's like, okay, yes, I'm going to do this. I didn't know how or anything, but I just decided I'm going to do it. The money will come. It's fine. And you know what? It did. So I've been following her journey, and she just created such an amazing space online, and the work that she's doing is incredible. And she's just such an uplifting and motivating person to be around. So I thought that I'd interview her before she jets off to island life for a while. So I want you guys to listen to Tash from the Mindful Movement. So welcome to Tash from the Mindful Movement. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Jane. I am very happy to be here with you. So a little bit about myself. I like to use the label or term heart-centered curator. And everything that I do it with an intention of love and from my heart. Another label role that I have in my life is a private yoga and mindfulness teacher. And then my husband and I started a social impact organization about 1.5 years ago called Orenda Foundation, focused on providing resources to under-resourced communities. Yeah, just some of the stuff I'm involved in.
Yeah, just a tad, just a few things. So question 1, what does self-love mean to you?
I think that it's morphed over the years as my self-love journey has morphed and evolved. And I think at the moment what self-love means to me is my sense of worth and valuing my sense of worth and really honoring that in every aspect of my life.
So what has your self-love journey looked like?
Sure. I think I'd like to start from when I was a teenager. I think I had some huge life events happen that subconsciously triggered my journey. I just wasn't that aware at the time. As a teenager, my parents got divorced when I was about 15. And I, at the same time, had struggled with an eating disorder for a couple of years. I then started my yoga and mindfulness journey very nonchalantly, like not taking it seriously at all. A few years later, I think I was my first year out of varsity, I just started my corporate job, and I was instantaneously hooked. And through yoga and mindfulness, I'd become a lot more self-aware and conscious of self-care and self-love and looking after myself holistically in body, mind, and soul. After I'd been practicing for about 1 year, I had some devastating news that my dad had passed away in a very traumatic event. And I think that life event specifically was the catalyst to learning how to look after myself and what self-love really meant. I think it's natural for a child to obviously expect a lot of love and support from their parent. That's just natural. But when that choice is taken away from you, when you lose a parent, you really start to reflect on really providing a safe space for yourself and looking after yourself again holistically in mind, body, and soul.
So what little self-care things do you do daily?
So I try as often as I can to practice what I preach and get on my yoga mat and do mindfulness meditation. I don't always commit to an hour's practice. Sometimes it's 5 minutes of movement and meditation. I then try and spill those aspects and principles into the rest of my life. So whether I'm sipping a cup of coffee or down at the beach or interacting with people that I work with, I really try and adopt the methodology or philosophy of being fully present and the power of presence. And I think by doing that, I don't divide or split my energy and time in a million different ways so that you actually end up fatiguing yourself. So, and that's been a long journey. I mean, I've been practicing yoga and mindfulness for the last 10 years. So I'm not perfect. I still slip up. I still, get super tired and drain myself. And then I just remind myself about what I practice. What I teach. And what I share with everyone else needs to be applied to myself first.
So what does mindfulness mean to you?
To me, it means the power of being deeply present in the now. And then the second part, which is probably the most important part, is without judgment. So it's very easy to try and be present, try be here, or just focus on your breath. The most difficult part is the second part of the definition, without judgment. So when you're practicing being mindful is not getting into a narrative or conversation with yourself about the thoughts that you've just labeled, or if you're focusing, for example, on your breath, and you end up having a conversation about how shallow or how deep your breath is, but rather to just stay deeply present in the here and in the now.
So speaking of mindfulness, how can people bring mindfulness into their day?
So I think it's such a great question. I think that you can incorporate mindfulness into absolutely everything. Just going back to that definition, it's using all of your senses to be present in the moment. So whether you're having a cup of coffee, whether you're at work, whether you're engaging in a conversation, is to use all your senses to just be in that moment and not get caught up in a conversation about what happened earlier in the day or what is going to happen later on. So I think that it's a very vague answer from my side, but it really can be applied to absolutely everything and should be applied to absolutely everything to reap the maximum benefits of a mindfulness practice.
I think also everyone puts so much emphasis and pressure on themselves for mindfulness and meditation and things like that. Whereas even if you're sitting outside with your coffee in the morning, watching the birds and being quiet, that's being mindful.
Totally. That's exactly it. It's finding those golden nuggets or those moments, those micro moments where you can just check in and be still. And in 2019, that's a luxury. We just have so much external stimulus coming our way every single moment. If it's not on the radio, from social media, our emails, our phones, conversations, there's just always some kind of stimulus coming at us. So really prioritizing quiet time or mindfulness time or meditation or prayer or whatever label you want to attach to it is vital for optimal health, actually.
Do you think that even 5 minutes a day of being quiet and just going within almost is better than nothing for people?
Totally. I think, as you habitually incorporate 5 minutes into your day, you'll graduate from that in a couple of years or months or weeks time, and you'll crave more. You'll reap the benefits and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I should probably include more into my life. So yeah, starting off with 5 minutes is perfect. Brilliant.
I actually, even in my course, one of the things I say there for people is I start them off with meditation, and there are like 3 meditations a week, because I know that when you're learning to meditate, you can't say every day, otherwise people run screaming. But I said, even if you have the time in the morning where you make your coffee or your tea, is to, tea takes 5 minutes to make, unless you're a savage and you only have the tea bag in for 1 minute. But pour your water in while it's brewing, sit on the floor or the couch and put on a guided meditation. And then if it's a 5 minute one, when it's done, you finish your tea and you're done. Just little moments.
Well, that's the thing, I've shared this with you before, and for anyone that's listening, they're the most beautiful guided meditations on Insight Timer and on the Calm app on YouTube. Specifically, I love Sarah Blondin on she's on Apple iTunes as well. And it's just really sometimes when you feel like you need support or you need guidance or you need someone's voice to hold space for you, that's amazing. Exactly like you said, it's such a easy and cool way and really sets a tone for the day as well.
I think that's the whole thing about meditation is when people hear meditation, they picture you sitting on the floor for 20 minutes by yourself with your thoughts. But there's actually a guided meditation on an app that you can listen to someone else telling you the thoughts and what to think about. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah, I think that there's a huge misconception that meditation is only for Buddhist monks or advanced yogis sitting in the Himalayas, and apps like Headspace even is really starting to break down those stigmas and showcase that meditation, specifically mindfulness meditation. So there's lots of different types of meditations that do require you to sit on the floor straight up for X amount of time with a specific technique. The same way in yoga, there's various styles. The style of meditation we're talking about is mindfulness meditation. And exactly like you said, it doesn't always have to be sitting up straight. There's various ways you can infiltrate that philosophy into your life.
What I like, because you introduced me to the Insight Timer app, and I've introduced so many people through using my course. That's the one that I recommend. And they've just added a kids section on there.
How cool.
It's so divine. And it's like even from 1 minute up. And there's 20 minutes bedtime ones that I've told my clients. And now I trained 2 of my clients. Their kids come to the kids yoga. So now at bedtime, instead of reading a story, put it on. Like the one little girl likes Kari, a certain lady, and she's like, I want Kari. So now every night they listen to their little meditation, and they don't even realize they're listening to a meditation. They think they're just listening to a story, which is basically what a meditation is. Breaks it down. That's what a meditation is, a little story.
Yeah.
Which is so nice.
A guided meditation.
Yeah, a guided meditation. It's teaching them from like 4 years old.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's incredible.
It's amazing that our kids or the next generation is going to have access to all of these tools and all of this knowledge and just be so much more empowered.
And save the world.
Yeah, change the world. Yeah, totally.
Okay, so tell us about your work for the Mindful Movement and what you love about it.
I love everything about it. I feel like I am living my truth. I'm in alignment with what I do. And it's been a long journey. It hasn't always been the mindful movement for me. I used to work in the corporate world, and which I'm very grateful for the experience. I learned a lot of skills and grew a lot through some challenging times. But the work that I do through the mindful movement is focused around sharing yoga and mindfulness with as many people as possible through one-on-one private sessions, workshops, retreats locally and internationally. And then I pay my time forward by teaching in under-resourced communities or underserved communities, and collaborate with local schools, charities, foundations. I had the most amazing meeting yesterday with the Cotton On Foundation about setting up a whole program around well-being and self-discovery for their 2 schools in Kwamashu next year. Busy chatting to Yes for Youth organization in Joburg around how we can incorporate behavioral change systems in their programs. So I really tried to bridge my old corporate business background together with my passion for yoga and mindfulness, and then just share it with as many people as possible.
So we've just squeezed you in before you leave jet setting again. I mean, if you know Tash, you know that she is like the most amazing gypsy traveler, and that would be your ideal life. But she's going off to Nemba Island again. So tell us about your journey there and what you do, and people need to watch your stories to actually see how beautiful it is there.
So I am deeply grateful for the experience. My really good friend Solveig has been traveling to the island for the last 10 years, and she has been mentioning it to me since I left my corporate job, and tried to support my dream and passion of being a traveling yoga teacher. Yeah, Member Island is a tiny little island off the coast of Zanzibar, so East Africa, turquoise blue waters, little patch of sand, you're barefoot all day. It's just the most magical healing space, living close to nature. And I get to share yoga and holistic well-being with really amazing people from all around the world. So I get to go to the island for a month, and then Solveig comes to meet me on the 15th of December, and we get to be there together, which is to be magic. The fact that we get to share it together. And then I get back in the first week of Jan, because we have Awaken Yoga Festival the second week of Jan. Yeah, very excited about it.
And are you going back again next year, or do you...
To New Island?
Yeah.
Interesting question. So Jay knows I got married this year and have set an intention to be a little bit more grounded.
So proud of you, Tash.
Yeah, but here I am going away for a month. So if the opportunity arises itself, I'll have to decide and consider and take it as it comes. This is an amazing opportunity. I get to go for a month, where generally you have to go for 2.5 months. And that's a little bit a long time away from Dev and other passion projects that I really want to be involved in and get stuck into in South Africa or everywhere. So, yeah.
And you also got your retreats in Greece? You got two next year, hey? Yes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'd mentioned earlier in the podcast that my dad passed away, and he was Greek, and everyone on my dad's side of the family live in Greece. So I have a very special connection with the country and the space, and just been an incredible part of my healing and self-love journey. So it's just an absolute dream to amalgamate the two worlds of yoga and traveling to the island in one. So I'm hosting 2 retreats next year. The first one is fully booked, and the second one currently only has 2 spots available, which I'm so excited about.
Incredible. Well, I did my first ever retreat in Greece with you, and that was your first overseas retreat. Yeah. So I learned so much about myself on that retreat. So I wanted to know, what did you learn from that retreat?
Sure. I learned so much. It cemented my passion. It cemented what I was doing was just in complete alignment. Everything about the experience just felt so right, even though the weather for the first 3-4 days was horrendous, like a nightmare. And I've been traveling to Greece since I was 5 years old. I've never experienced, but there was just such learnings in that for me, is to let go, non-attachment. It's totally out of my control. And then also the whole purpose of a retreat is to rest and restore. And I think everyone there actually needed that. And so it forced us to just, although we were on an island and we paid lots of money to be there, the universe had a whole bunch of other plans for us, and we all flowed with it so beautifully. And also I learned that no matter where you are at in your journey of self-discovery or self-love or self-care, whatever label you want to attach to it again, is that we're all connected. We all have something to learn from one another. And even when someone's triggering you or annoying you, or maybe someone that really inspires you or lights you up, everyone is a teacher.
And it teaches you about yourself.
Totally. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So speaking of the horrendous weather those first few days, I didn't mind because I just spent a week in...
You needed the rest.
Yeah. So other people came to the retreat first, and then they traveled afterwards, and then I did travel first, retreat after. So I mean, like, it had been a week of Santorini and Mykonos and Athens, and it was just go and I'd been tanning like every day. So for me, I was like, this is actually really nice. I'm happy to sleep. But the strangest thing happened. So it was a chakra. You did all the different chakras. That was the whole theme of the retreat. And every time we were doing like a meditation or something, it was bizarre. We all had goosebumps afterwards when Tash told us. So say we were doing a meditation, and then there'd be like, what is it, thunder? Yeah, and then afterwards she's like, So that is the same frequency as whatever the chakra we were doing. There were birds, seagulls, there was thunder, there was wind, and that all aligned with the chakra we were doing.
It was just magic. We were doing a chakra balancing retreat, and every single chakra that we had navigated through, the element that was associated with it had showed up for us in that class and just supported the work that we were doing and amplified the work. And it cemented what I was doing was so important and so in alignment. It flowed beautifully.
I think that kind of made everything because it was like freaky.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my gosh, don't laugh.
I mean, and there's 7 main chakras, and for us to like all 7 on point. Yeah, that's amazing.
Insane. So I highly recommend booking onto one of Tash's Greek retreats. Or you're also doing one in Feb.
Yes, I'm doing a half-day retreat at the Waterfall Centre on the 1st of Feb. It's just the most magical treehouse yoga studio. It's something out of a dream. It's just a lovely space, and go out and do a long yoga movement session and a walk out in the forest, share some breakfast snacks, and then end with a beautiful yoga nidra.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and come to that. So where do you see the mindful movement in the next 5 years?
So in very basic terms, as many people practicing yoga and mindfulness with me as possible, through online or retreats or workshops. And then I really envision more teachers getting on board and in aligned with the work that I'm currently doing. So in their own capacity to go out to a local school or connect with the local foundation, that the intention of the movement is beyond the actual human being or one human being moving their body. It's this subtle movement of us just really raising vibrations and lifting consciousness and sharing self-love or just radiating love to anyone and everyone.
Almost forgot to make Tash choose a card. So we have the Gabby Bernstein deck, and she's going to pick something. I'm going to see if it... You introduced me to these cards, actually.
These ones specifically?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, it says, my capacity to tune in the energy of love gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I'm lost. Awesome. And that first sentence is everything. My capacity to tune into the energy of love.
We've just been...
It's literally, we were just having a conversation about Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love, and how at a basic level we operate out of fear or love.
It's crazy.
Love is everything.
Amazing. Thank you. So where can people find you on social media, and if they want to know about the retreats and the day retreats and all of that?
So I have an Instagram handle at the mindful_movement, and a Facebook page, The Mindful Mover, that you can check out. And then my website is www.themindfulmovement.co.za, and it links all to all the different social media pages and my email address. And I'd love to connect with you and just share my journey.
Amazing. Thank you, Tash, for joining me and squeezing me in before you go on your... No, it's amazing. Literally, we've been trying to do it for about a month now, I think, like every week. But it was, I wasn't worried because I knew that it would come when it was meant to come. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme, and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.